squinting away. She looked over at Tammy, searching for a sign that the other woman had picked up on the subtle magic that had just happened right in front of her. She didn't seem to have noticed and had settled herself at the table, swiping at the tears now streaking down her face. The glass of lemonade being sat before her seemed to give her the confidence she needed to carry through with the story.
"I'm so sorry to barge in on y'all like this," she sniffled, "but I didn't know where else to go. You were so kind the day we all came out here, and I could use a little of your courage."
Her gaze jumped to the teenagers currently slinging pale yellow paint at each other as they painted Rosie's cabin, a punishment imposed after they had egged her and her daughter when they first came to Mosswood. Rosie glanced over at them too, and had a feeling it was one of the teens' mothers, Priscilla Bishop, Tammy was really thinking of.
"You don't need to apologize,"
Rosie told her, taking a seat beside her at the picnic table Declan had built. "So, let's get that out of the way right now. We're just having a cookout, and you're officially invited." Rosie's acceptance of Tammy sparked a chain reaction inside of her. It started as a small, warm tingle in her heart that radiated outwards, gathering more heat as it went. In no time at all, it felt like it covered her entire body. Try though she might to hold it in, Rosie could feel her control starting to slip. The sensation of magic beginning to leak from her body was enough to incite a spike of panic. She couldn't risk showing her powers in front of Tammy and a bunch of local teenagers. But the spike was enough of a hiccup to open up a bigger release. Energy spouted out of Rosie and up into the sky, making the leaves of the trees shudder as it dissipated into the atmosphere. But what goes up, as the saying went, must come down. The magic drifted to the earth like snowflakes, shimmering energy that was only just barely visible to Rosie as she squinted at it. It settled like a comforter across the lawn, sending out an aura of approval that Rosie felt through to her very core. She thought back to what Declan had said that night on the porch when he had informed her that she was the queen of the lost. Was this what it felt like, to be taking steps forward into accepting that mantle? Tammy finished wiping her eyes and offered a weak smile in return.
"Thank you."
Rosie smiled back. "You're welcome. Now," she added, leaning towards Tammy with a soft expression, "why don't you tell me all about it?" Tammy nodded slowly and looked down at her hands clasped in her lap.
"Well, I went to the church to drop off a batch of cookies I'd made for Sunday school," she began. "I came into the kitchen through the side door, so I guess he didn't hear me. The pantry door was open, and when I poked my head around in to see if anyone was inside, there he was, with his pants around his ankles." She rolled her eyes toward Rosie. "I'd know his pasty butt anywhere." Tammy looked up and down the ridge toward Mosswood. "In a town this small, you hear things." Rosie smiled wryly. "Ain't that the truth?" Tammy laughed through the remnants of her tears, but then shook her head. "I've been hearing for years about Terry running around behind my back, but any time I confronted him, he denied it, and I believed him. But seeing him with someone else, I knew all the rumors were true, and had been all this time." Her tears ran anew, and Rosie pulled the apron from around her waist and handed it to her to use as a handkerchief. Tammy took it gratefully and wiped her eyes as she continued. "He followed me home, but I couldn't listen to him." She glanced at the laundry bag next to her on the table. "I just grabbed whatever I could reach and jumped in the car, almost slammed his hand in the door." Rosie interjected, "No more than he deserved." She looked up at Rosie as though remembering herself and shook her head. "I can't believe how nice you're being. That day I saw you and Terry," Rosie interrupted. "That was all on Terry." "Which I know now," Tammy said. "I knew it the minute we got home. He made all the same excuses then as he did today, so I knew he'd been lying then, too." She looked up at Rosie. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," Rosie breathed. "None of this is your fault." "I know," Tammy agreed more forcefully than Rosie would have suspected the softly spoken woman capable of. "I don't know whether I'm more sad or angry or just happy to be rid of him, but I do know that." Rosie nodded knowingly. She remembered.